Must be Friday already. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another Forex Friday. Let's do it. Hi guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Matt L. I'm a full-time Forex trader living in Montreal, and I'm also studying naturopathy on the side. So this week was a pretty typical August week. We did have a few large movements, but then those movements were followed up with a lot of inactivity and a lot of consolidation. What happened in terms of fundamentals, for the most part, was kind of subdued. We did have that crazy Robinhood news. If you haven't seen that, maybe check that out. That it's pretty wild. But in terms of Forex, we did have the New Zealand unemployment data that came in much stronger than expected, which saw a really strong New Zealand dollar, followed by the Australian dollar as well. Not quite as strong as the Kiwi though. So that led to a large drop in GN and EN, but that drop was pretty much just followed with consolidation and not much follow through or much of a pullback. The only trade that I executed upon this week was GJ. It was a buy, so we're gonna go over that. And then I was looking for a buy area on GN and EN, but they didn't quite line up the way that I was looking for them to. So we're gonna just go over that as well. I think it will be a really good example for you guys, again, to help with that cross-examination of pairs. I've had people message me saying that you've really gotten value in that and that it has helped you a lot. So that's always nice to hear. And that is really it for this week. There's nothing too crazy, so it might be a slightly shorter video than usual, but I don't want to waste any of your time. So with all of that being said, we'll hop right into the charts. Okay, so the first trade that we're going to go over is the only trade again that I executed upon this week, which was a buy on GJ. So we're going to take a look first at the daily, and it's this very small green box here that I executed the trade on. If we hop down onto the 4-hour chart, you'll be able to see it a little bit more clearly. So we hit this area with this large bearish candle and this wick, and then we moved higher. If we were to calculate the move that it actually provided, it was roughly 60 pips, but I closed due to time of day and the fact that it was moving quite slow. I closed my full position at plus 30 pips. I risked 30 pips as well, so it was a one-to-one trade, risked 1% in order to make 1%, so nothing crazy. In terms of the confluences for why I took this trade, there was 3 or 4. First off, we have this 38 fib, which was very clean on the daily from this move up, and it was the first fib level that we were hitting from the lower time frame high from this move here. So I had confidence in that 38 fib. It was also a key level. On the daily, there is a daily wick just across that I'll show you. But as we can see here on the 4-hour, we have touches here, here, and here. And on the daily, we have those wicks there. And then this area here would have provided a little bit of drawdown for that area, but it worked nonetheless. On top of that, we have the daily 100 EMA, which lined up perfectly with the 38 fib. So that added a little bit of extra confidence in that area for me. And lastly, I would consider that potentially this area and the time of day that it hit, there was a little bit of profit taking, which acted as a confluence. As you can see, the daily candle that was printing was rather large, and the time of day that the trade triggered was later on in the day during the New York session. It was past the afternoon. I think it was around 1 p.m. and I don't love to take trades at that time, but when it does have potential of being a profit-taking area, sometimes the time of day can play in my favor. So this was the only trade that I took this week, and it worked out quite nicely. Nothing overly fancy, just some strong technical levels, and it worked out quite well. So that is everything for GJ. The next thing we're going to go over is GN and EN. There were 2 buy scenarios that were potentially lining up, but they didn't sufficiently line up for me to take the trade, and I'm glad that they didn't, because they most likely would have been losers. So again, if you guys watched last week when I went over, I think it was Pound New Zealand and Euro New Zealand again, when I cross-examined the pairs and I said that this was really important, not only to always do in trading to strengthen your trading overall, but especially in August when there's low volume and low liquidity. So I think this week will provide you with another really good example. So we're going to start off on EN, and on the daily we have this area here. So it was a previous low, and it was also just below 1.68, so a round number. Now I was looking to not necessarily take this buy position because I was trying to line it up with pound New Zealand, which I was a little bit more interested in. So I was more interested in taking the buy on pound New Zealand, but I wanted Euro New Zealand to line up. Let's go over the confluences on GN. So first off, you can see we have this daily trend line, which will adjust for the daily. It was also a round number at 1.97. So like I said, on EN, I wanted the round number on EN to hit simultaneously as a 1.97 on GN, but that did not happen. I'll show you exactly what did happen. So the price action here was a little bit not so good. As you can see, we came down very close with this wick. This was overnight New York time. This was around 2 or 3 a.m. Eastern time, and it just missed and moved up, and then it came back down with some drawdown. Could have easily stopped me out, and I know other traders that did get stopped out, and then it did make the move, and it's just been hovering ever since. So the way to know that potentially this trade was not going to work is, one, we came super close to hitting the pending order and then moving higher, so that would have made it much higher risk. So that's one way you could have known. The other way is that if we look at what was happening on a lower time frame with EN was right around here, these candles here, when GN was hitting that low. So we were not at 1.68 yet, but we were at 1.97 on GN. So since those weren't lining up, I didn't have as much confidence in taking them. And as for hitting 1.68, you can see that we did hit it, but we didn't come low to this trend line with this wick right here. So again, we moved a little bit higher. So when that happens, there's a good chance and it's a good indication that we're going to move past the area to grab more liquidity, to grab more orders, and then potentially the move will take place. So that's another good example for you guys to try and cross-examine pairs to see what's lining up. I've had some of you message me on Twitter and Telegram saying that it's really helped you guys and that you've learned a lot from it and you started to implement it into your own trading. So that's fantastic. I always love to hear that. And that's really it for this week. There's nothing overly crazy that happened. It's a pretty typical August week. So I hope you guys did well this week. I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, I will see you next week. And let me know in the comment section if you guys have any thoughts about this market, how you did this week. I always love to hear from you guys no matter what it is. So until then, have a good one. Peace.